Alrighty, hello everybody. Dr. P in the house for the second of our 30 lives that I am going to be doing. It's a beautiful Monday here in Maine. Um, and we're all doing pretty awesome actually, and I'm really excited to come to you for this first weekday that we're going to be doing these lives. I am Dr. Michelle Fannin-Steele, and I am going to be coming to you because I'm a life coach. Okay, I help people in the food industry, but you know what the local food industry is doing right now? They're feeding their people. They are feeding their people, and that's super important. And what I want to do is there are like a ton of us out there that have a lot of different things going on, okay? And this coaching is designed so that those of you who have stuff going on, you can take a moment and you can take a breath, okay? And you can see and ask yourself who you want to be while this is going on, when the next crisis is going on, when the next crisis is going on. This feels so super big right now. I get it. It feels so super big. But I have friends who were in Manhattan during 9/11. I was the veterinarian for the dogs on the pile, right? I was the base veterinarian in 2000. Let's see, when did I get to Fort Monmouth? In 2006, so a couple years after. For those dogs, I worked with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and like everything seems super big. And the question is who do you want to be when when your whole world is going on around you? And the truth of the matter is, by asking these questions right now, who do you want to be? How do you want to be right now? And who do you want to be right now? The truth of the matter is we have to answer those questions every day of our lives. All of them, okay? There are people for whom this quarantine that we're going under, or this social distancing, depending on who you are, this isn't anywhere close to the worst thing that's ever happened to them. Not even close. There are some people who are like, yes, social distancing, I can work from home, right? And the question is where is your brain space right now, and how do you want to show up? So yesterday we talked about how I manage my brain, okay, and I manage it by doing a thought download. I write down everything, okay, that I am thinking. I do this in the morning. I do it throughout the day. I did it right before I did this live, okay. I write down what I am thinking, and I think about how do I want to be right now? How do I want to show up? How am I going to create the space so that everybody who's watching can have the experience that they need? And I choose this consciously, okay? And I choose this consciously because I've trained myself to choose this consciously. I choose every day to look at my own brain and make sure that I am coming to my life from a space of choice versus a space of have to or need or should. All right, and I've come to that because I have realized that there are things that go on around us in the world, and we have a choice as to how we deal with it. Those things that are going on in the world are not causing us our feelings, okay? Coronavirus cannot make you feel anything. Social distancing cannot make you feel anything. When you do a thought download, what you are writing down are your thoughts that create your feelings. Okay? Every single time. You've heard me say it before, I'll say it again. By understanding what my thoughts are, I have created all of the results in my life. All right, all of the results that everybody who has known me for my whole life has seen in the past 2 years. I quit drinking. I've made more money than I've made ever in my life. I've lost 85 pounds. I've managed some really tough situations with my kids. I'm managing my kids being home for 2 weeks, if not through September, guys. Right? And I'm going to show you, like, how that actually looks. And I'm going to be bringing, like, at least one kid wants to come on and do this work with you because he knows how important it is to understand that there's the world that's going on around you, then there's what you're thinking about the world, and it's what you're thinking about the world that causes your feelings, okay? All your feelings are caused by your thoughts, and when you can distinguish the world around you, the nouns and the verbs, okay, like we did yesterday, from what you think about the nouns and the verbs, and how what you think makes you feel, you will take back all of your power for everything. But this asks a really big ask, right? It asks a really, really big ask. That you look at your feelings. We in our society, Western society, American society, by and large don't spend a whole lot of time looking at our feelings, okay? I go to people and I say, I'm a life coach and I'm going to help you 10x your business through life coaching. And they're like, am I going to have to talk about my feelings? I'm like, you feel them anyway. Maybe if we talked about them, it would be good. All right? You feel your feelings anyway. All right? There is a Jesuit priest, Daniel Berrigan, who some of you may know because he is the one that broke into the office, the draft office in San Francisco and burned the draft cards and then fled to Canada. He had a thought that would help, okay? And he felt so passionately about that, he went and he burned draft cards and he left the country, right? However you feel about that, all right, because I know I have a lot of veterans on my page, however you feel about that, he was sure he understood his emotions and he understood his feelings, right? Daniel Berrigan was so in tune with his feelings that he wrote books and books and books and books about them. And one of the quotes from his books is, "Know where you stand and stand there." And one of the most transformative things I have done in my own work is understand my own feelings and understand that my thoughts create my feelings, and thus my thoughts create the results I have in the world, okay? And that is transformative. It is absolutely transformative. It means that you are not at the effect of the coronavirus. You're not at the effect of your spouse. You're not at the effect of your kids. You're not at the effect of your internet. You're not at the effect of anything out there. Now, I know this goes against all the training that we've had, okay? I know it does because I was trained the same way, right? Nobody can make you feel anything. Johnny did not make Mary feel bad. Mary didn't make Johnny feel bad. The reason they felt bad is because they had thoughts about what the other person did, and those thoughts created feelings of feeling bad. And if you can develop the mechanism to look inside and look at your own feelings, you will find them. This will take work, okay? When you're doing your thought downloads, like I talked about yesterday, and you underline all the nouns and you underline all the verbs and you figure out all the things that are just facts out there in the universe, okay? And you look at your sentences, after you do that, I want you to look and see if you just, so the way I do this is I do my thought download, okay? I pick out my circumstances, and then I look at my sentences and I see, do those sentences make me feel positive or negative? All right. And I think you would be surprised at how often those sentences are very, very negative, even if you look at yourself as a positive person. I mean, I think anybody who knows me would say I am one of the most positive and extroverted people they've ever met. Okay, I hear this a lot. All right. That said, if you look at my journal and you look at my thoughts, they're not positive all the time, nor would I want them to be positive all the time, okay? I'm totally okay feeling apprehensive and having anxiety about what's going on out in the world right now. I'm okay having that feeling, and yet I am not indulging in that feeling. And so the question is how do I do that? I'm going to be spending a lot of time in these next 30 days talking about hacks and tips and tricks, and they're not hacks and tips and tricks, really. They're the methodologies that I use every day to run my business, to keep my business thriving, to move forward so that I can be the person who the universe is calling me to be, okay? And the very first step of that is to recognize my own feelings, okay? So one of the feelings that I have an awful lot of the time is anxiety. And I realized this week that I am actually more afraid of my anxiety, and that my fear of my anxiety feels a whole lot worse than the anxiety itself, which I thought was fascinating, right? Because how much time do we spend running away and resisting our feelings? We resist our feelings so hard, but when we resist our feelings, we actually believe them into life. We believe them that they're worth all of that work. What if they're just there? Okay? And I want to introduce you to one of the most life-changing sentences I have ever had. All right? And that sentence is, I give myself permission to feel. Okay? I'm a life coach. I know that the way to go out and serve my community and lead is to live in breakthrough. Okay? The way for all of my business people who are out there to go out and lead and serve your community is to be constantly thinking about what your community needs. I am constantly thinking about what my people need, what is best going to serve them. How are we going to create the possibility for them to have what they need so their businesses can grow and thrive? And I have done no more useful work on this than give myself permission to feel all of my emotions. Okay? When I started this work, I didn't even know how to name my emotions. I really didn't. And I'm a pretty emotionally aware individual. And I was like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't get it. I don't know. Well, when I know what I'm feeling, okay, or just start with, I'm feeling terrible or I'm feeling good, right? If you're not in the habit of understanding your own emotions, just start with positive or negative. Like, positive is a feeling, negative is a feeling, and as you get good at this, you'll dive down into those feelings, right? When you discover that you have a thought that makes you feel positive or negative, then you get to decide whether or not you want to keep that. And you may decide that you do, in fact, want to keep that. I'm totally okay with all the negative emotions that are associated with my thoughts about what's happening with coronavirus, because I know that this is an opportunity for me to have a breakthrough, for me to have a transformation, for me to serve my people and my family and my community even more deeply, to show up as the person who I really want to be. And that choice is available to everybody, no matter what you do in life, because there are people, you have connections in your community, and your people need you right now. Your family needs you right now. Your worship community needs you right now. We're in Lent. We just finished Purim. We're coming up to Passover and Easter. Like, your religious community needs you right now, and there are ways that you can show up to them. There are ways you can show up to them over email with social distancing, okay? But you're only going to find those ways if you know where you stand and you stand there, okay? And so what I have here, I was working with Ben. He's my 10-year-old, okay? And Ben is a very emotionally aware 10-year-old because we've spent a lot of time on this. All right, he's a great, great kid, and he wants to come on to doing the lives and talk about some of the things that he knows how to do, because he knows that there are other kids that are being held home from school when they really, really love school. So I was working here up in the office today, and and Ben came up, and this is, like day one of spring break, right? And the kids are getting their minds around it. And I said, Ben, what negative feelings are you feeling? What negative feelings are you feeling? And he said, Mommy, can I write it up here? Because when I talk to my kids, I say, what would happen if you gave yourself permission to feel your negative feelings? Those of you who know me know I travel a lot. Parental travel makes kids angry, at least makes my kids angry. They miss me. They're mad I'm gone. And their behavior is like 10 times worse if they're not even acknowledging how mad they are at me, because they feel like they can't be mad at me. It's completely human. It's a very intense emotion to kids to be mad at their mother, all right? And it's those intense emotions that we had as kids that we developed shielding mechanisms against, that we needed. And it worked really, really well for a really long time. Up until when we become adults and we recognize those shielding mechanisms aren't what we need anymore, and they're not serving us. So my anxiety was a shielding mechanism, okay, that I developed as a little kid, and I just kept going through my adulthood, right? All of those core vulnerabilities, like Brené Brown talks about, like being vulnerable, shame, humiliation, separation from the group. Like, there's a lot of studies out there that the literally worst thing that we can feel, the most suffering we can feel, is separation from a group, okay? And that's why people hate public speaking. It's why my fellow coaches don't go on Facebook Live. That's why so many restaurant owners feel so alone right now, okay, is because they feel separated from their people. But that feeling comes from a thought. But you've got to acknowledge that feeling first, okay? You've got to acknowledge that feeling first. And then you can go and you can create the results that you want, even if you're still feeling negatively. So when I was talking with Ben, I was like, Ben, if you gave yourself permission to feel all of your negative emotions, what would those emotions be? And he said, Mommy, can I write it up here? And I said, go right ahead. He's like, Mommy, will you do it during your live? And I said, rock on, man. And so this is a list of all of Ben's feelings, okay? Ben's 10, all right? And he said, and I was like, so just like if you had to tell the world what feelings you were giving yourself permission to feel, because school is closed. Notice school is closed as a circumstance, right? What are those feelings? And worry was a big one. He's got a lot of rage. Guess what? Our kids feel rage. Our adults feel rage. Our kids feel rage, right? He gave himself permission to feel his rage. You know what happens when Ben doesn't give himself permission to feel his rage? Boom, rock brain. And then we have problems. That's when the kids act out, is when they have rage and they don't know what to do with it because it's such an intense emotion. Adults have rage too, and the more you resist it, the more intense it will become. He was sad, okay? He felt a lot of discomfort. We worked really hard in our house about feeling discomfort. He felt a lot of fear. One of the things I discovered, and I think I talked about this, is how much fear I have over feeling my negative emotions. And I really have only discovered by doing this visualization exercise of how much distance I create between me and my negative emotions by inserting fear there. It's within that fear that I create my own suffering, all right? The negative emotions are there: sadness, worry, anxiety, all of this list. But then when we're afraid of them, that's when things really start going haywire. But if we know where we stand and we stand there and say, I give myself permission to feel fear, all of a sudden you recognize fear as a core vulnerability, but also fear of all the other negative emotions, okay? Ben gives himself permission to feel stressed. You know, this whole like, stress and overwhelm and anxiety that so many of our kids have, it's a lot better when he actually acknowledges it. Ben feels confused. How many of us feel confused about what's going on, about all the things that are coming in and all the inputs, right? If you are feeling confused and overwhelmed, one of the things you can do is you can go share with somebody you love about this coaching and say, hey, come on, noon Eastern time come see Dr. P's coaching, because she's coaching everybody, all right? Ben's just annoyed, right? How many of us are just flat annoyed at the inconvenience? The absolute inconvenience of all of this, right? Like, that's super easy. I get thoughts about annoyance a lot. Annoyance is a super easy emotion for me to go to. I think Ben's getting strep throat, so Ben feels sick. But you know what I want to point out to you? That a sick 10-year-old actually wrote all of this down, all right? He's already fed up. He wrote this list at 11 o'clock on his first day home. He feels really hurt. I think he feels really hurt that the adults didn't protect him. The adults didn't protect the school, and I think he feels really, really hurt. All right, if you have kids at home, maybe ask them if they feel really hurt, okay, and help them identify that emotion. He's carrying some hate, okay? That's a big emotion for a little kid, and it feels so real to them. And because it feels so real, like, it's very easy for kids to hold on to that. It's very easy for us to hold on to hate, because it distances ourselves from people who make us afraid, and it's a very distancing thing, and it feels like we can shove people away. It's not actually how it works, but he feels pretty stupid, because I think he feels like he should be able to deal with all of this. All right, my friends, how well are you dealing with all of this, right? My 10-year-old feels pretty damn dumb that he can't deal with all of this, that he already doesn't have the tools. Guess what? I'm here to teach you the tools. I live with this kid every day, right? And we work on these tools every day, and he still feels dumb about it, right? But when he resists feeling stupid, whether it's about math homework, or whether it's about writing, or whether it's about feeling his feelings, it's always like 10 times worse. Ben feels really isolated. I bet you a lot of us feel really isolated, all right? He's pretty anxious. He's pretty anxious. Doesn't get it from the neighbors, does he? He's feeling really selfish, because, and he told me it's because he knows how good he has it. We live in a house in the woods. I have 4 acres. The sun is shining. I got like 6 months worth of woodworking projects for my kids to do. I got trees to chop down. We got gardens to plant. I'm like, I really can keep my kids busy at what we call main camp. If they have to stay home all the way through September. Like, I really can, okay? And when I said, okay, you're looking at that feelings wheel, because he did this by looking at a feelings wheel and identifying all of those emotions. I do that a lot, okay? You find the feeling, and then your thought will eventually come to you. And it's okay to be in the uncertainty, but I'm just giving myself permission to feel this feeling. and to not know the thought. There are a lot of times where I feel a feeling and I'm like, I don't know what thought that comes from. And that's after like a lot of years of figuring this stuff out, right? But he's also feeling really loving because he knows that he can produce the love, that he is lovable, that he is loving. Like, those are all emotions that we create with our own thoughts, just like we create the negative emotions. By the time he wrote this whole list down, look what he wrote. Relaxed, proud, and aware. Imagine what would happen if you looked at a feelings wheel and wrote down all of your emotions and you felt relaxed, you felt proud, and you felt aware. How much better would that feel right now if you could feel relaxed and proud and aware and you were present with your own self in those feelings? Because the truth is that we all have feelings. We have positive feelings and we have negative feelings, okay? And I kind of think of them, I do a lot of traveling, and the way I think about it is that there are ways that we can travel with our bags, right? And there are so many of us that are weighed down by the bags that we don't even know that we're carrying of our negative emotion. Simply by acknowledging that negative emotion, it takes up less space in our brain. It takes up less space in our body. By acknowledging the positive emotion and feeling that positive emotion, even if you're going to start by acknowledging you have mixed emotions. When I do my self-coaching, one of the questions I ask myself is, what mixed emotions am I feeling right now? I'm out here trying to create something. What mixed emotions am I feeling right now? Okay? Because we are human beings and we have mixed emotions. When you allow your negative emotions and you don't resist them and run away from them, they don't grow. They may still be there, but they're less important. And when you allow your positive emotions, they do grow because they feel good. And we are a species that avoids pain and seeks pleasure and has 18-year-old cats who want to do self-coaching too, right? We avoid pain and we seek pleasure, and we try and make things easy. We're all about the easy. The easiest thing that I can teach you to do about feeling your feelings is for you to write down, I give myself permission to feel whatever feeling that you're doing. It took Ben, 10 minutes to write this list to get to relaxed, loving, relaxed, proud, and aware. 10 minutes. Do you have 10 minutes to spare today? Turn off the New York Times. Like, I love the New York Times as much as anybody. I've been reading it every day since 7th grade. Turn off the New York Times for like 10 minutes. Turn off Facebook. Stop checking the email. Spend 10 minutes. I give myself permission to feel. Put a feelings wheel in front of you and just write all that shit down. Write it all down. You're totally capable of doing this, and the awareness you will create in yourself will make you feel better. All right, that's what I have for you today. If this was super helpful to you, share it. Share the events. I'm here every day at noon until April 13th. Okay, even if we're all out of quarantine and social distancing from then, I am still here. 30 days, my friends. Okay, these are going up on the YouTube channel. They're going to be available for sharing because this work is so important. This is the work we need to be doing right now, because you are a leader in your family, you're a leader in your community, and you can be out there helping other people do exactly this. Because I bet you after I've done this, you can teach somebody else to do it. See one, do one, teach one, my friends. I'm a veterinarian. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.